Back.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here in the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien. I'm joined by Jane Barrows with Lyme Newport Suppport. We're here talking about Lyme disease awareness and other tick-borne illnesses. Jane, thanks so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
So tomorrow your support group is hosting an event, Tick or Treat, at the State House. You'll be handing out pamphlets, answering questions that people have about Lyme disease and other tick-borne illnesses. A lot of people have misconceptions about Lyme disease and might possibly think that ticks just go away after the first frost in New England, but that's not the case, and you're here to talk to us all about it.
And we are hoping this will be a first annual Tick or Treat event, because May is Lyme Awareness Month in Rhode Island, and as you just alluded, the ticks do not go away in the fall, so we thought it would be appropriate to have another event in October that would raise the awareness that people still need to be diligent and alert.
I think that's incredible. So I was made aware that every year 900 cases of Lyme disease are reported to the Rhode Island Department of Health. That's an outstanding number, and oftentimes, as you mentioned, that a lot of people out there don't even know that they have Lyme disease. Talk to me about what an impact Lyme disease can have on people's lives.
Well, first of all, that 900 figure is grossly understated from our information, but that's not the important point. The important point is that there are so many people contracting this disease. And in my case, which was pretty typical, I was bitten and I had a bite that I thought was a spider bite. And so I just did nothing, and I was in Maine on vacation and the 1st of August, and I became flat out sick in every way. I went to 2 walk-in clinics and an emergency room and was told that I had summer flu. When I came home, I was miserable the whole time I was there.
I bet.
When I came home, I went to my regular doctor, and he said there isn't anything as such as a summer flu. This was in 2008. And he did at that time test me for Lyme disease. Unfortunately, typically then and still now, the tests are not definitive at all. So he told me I did not have Lyme disease. Fortunately, a very serendipitous event, I bumped into someone who I knew her family had Lyme disease in the middle of October, and she immediately sent me to the one doctor in Rhode Island who is what we call Lyme literate, who understands the disease and knows how to clinically diagnose, which is important. The diagnosis is clinical. The tests are not reliable, so it has to be a doctor who can recognize the symptoms and do a clinical diagnosis.
So we want to look for, so if you think you might suspect that you do in fact or have in fact contracted Lyme disease, you want to find a doctor that is Lyme literate. And you said that there are laws in Rhode Island that will help you throughout your Lyme disease diagnosis. Talk to me a little bit about that, because it can be a very tough diagnosis to get, and it doesn't just go away.
No. The CDC says that Lyme is difficult to get, easy to diagnose, and easy to treat. And there are 2 protocols in treating Lyme disease. That is one. The other protocol, which is ILADS, says that Lyme is easy to get, difficult to diagnose, and difficult to treat. And that is the message that I call my colleagues in the trenches of Lyme are trying to get out to the public, because the CDC protocol only allows for short-term antibiotic treatment. The other protocol, ILADS, believes in long-term antibiotic as well as other methods of treatment. And the thing is that in 2002, in the state of Rhode Island, Governor Almond signed laws regarding the treatment of Lyme disease. And unfortunately, I discovered them about a year ago, serendipitously, and since then have been on a campaign to bring them to the public because they've been buried. For I don't know where they were, but they were not out to the public. And even still today, I'm grateful to be here because this is one of my moments to be able to start getting the word out, and the rally tomorrow will be significant in that because the doctors don't know what the laws are, and the doctors unknowingly are breaking the law. And the patients, therefore, are being neglected and misled and in certain cases mistreated.
So the laws you said the laws protect patients and physicians, allowing them to decide on individualized treatment options. So, and Rhode Island was the first state in the country to enact this legislation. So if you do in fact have Lyme disease, know that there are laws protecting you for those individualized treatment options, right? You don't, it's not a one-size-fits-all diagnosis, and it's not a one-size-fits-all treatment out there. And so if you are diagnosed with Lyme, do your research and your homework. Jane out there has done her research and done the homework. So tomorrow, this event, if you have questions, if you have concerns, stop by. You guys are going to be handing out flyers. You're going to be handing out some goodie bags, like you said.
Yes,
like you have some
treat
information
bag with our signature green ribbon.
Do I get a green ribbon?
You
Thank
get
you.
that.
I actually have been tested for Lyme. My results came back negative because I had some health concerns that I was like, I don't know what they are. I might as well test for Lyme. And you said they can come back negative all the time,
Absolutely.
right? Exactly.
That's one of the flaws in the lack of knowledge
I'm going to put my pin on later.
of the practitioners, because they give the test and then they tell the patient you don't have Lyme as a result of the test.
Yeah.
And that is just absolutely wrong. The tests do not tell whether you have Lyme or not.
So
there are two tests, and there is a second test that is more definitive, but there again, it has to go, there are only 2 labs in the country that can properly do these tests, and it has to be what we call a Lyme literate doctor.
Okay.
And that is a doctor who has been trained in the ILADS protocol, which is the International Lyme and Associated Diseases Society.
So be your own best advocate. So tomorrow you will be out at the State House from, what time will you be there tomorrow?
2 o'clock.
Okay, so 2 o'clock, and continue to use your flea and tick preventatives on yourself and your pets year round, because the ticks don't just magically disappear, right?
We will have things in our little bag that will show you how to react and act when you feel you've been bitten. The problem is that most people never know they've been bitten.
No, it's hard to tell because they're so small. I was looking at the website and seeing, if you haven't seen a tick, they're very small, very inconspicuous, and those are the ones that are certainly the most dangerous to our health and our pets' health as well.
And some of the information out there says that if you get the bullseye rash, well, it isn't just a bullseye rash. If you get it, it can be a rash of many different configurations, and that is not most people never see a rash or know that they've been bitten. So
do yourself a favor and get educated. Jane Barrows, thank you so much for joining us here today on Go Local Live. I appreciate it. Check out the rally tomorrow, Tick or Treat, at the State House. It's in the afternoon, so you can go get your information and then go enjoy yourself for the rest of the evening for Halloween. Thank you so much for joining us.
We'll have some fun costumes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you'll be in costumes, and you're welcome to be in costumes as well. Thank you so much. Hang tight, everyone, here as we get ready for our next guest on Go Local Live.